We're live. We're on.
All right.
Hey,
Hi, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, and thank you for being here on our live. We're inside again.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty weather today outside, so we're going to be inside.
This is kind of our inside studio, which we're still kind of working on making look a little bit better.
Yep. So welcome to Wednesday Live. I'm Sean. This is Allison. We're Spoken Garden, if you don't know that yet.
As you can see by our t-shirt behind us. This is so sad, you guys. We need to get a sign. This is the only thing we have right now that has our name on it.
Well, there's the bags.
We do have bags. That's true. We have bags.
So, yeah, we hope you're all having a great day today. It's the middle of the week. For some of us, it's Blur's Day, but you know it's still Wednesday. We're still keeping track of it. Those of you still keeping track of the days of the week out there.
I know. I can't believe Thanksgiving's next week. I mean that.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. But and some of you that have been watching us live for a while, we used to be at 5 o'clock Pacific, but if you remember last week, we moved to 3 o'clock because daylight savings. So we were able to be outside last week. We're hoping to be outside maybe a few more times during the upcoming months. So anyway, here we are.
Yep. So today we're going to go over how to sharpen your hand shears. And there's a couple steps before you actually get to the sharpening that we're going to go over with you. So it'll be fun and be able to talk to you about all that. But we have a couple of announcements before we dive into things today. So we wanted to let you know that we are doing YouTube Shorts. And if you don't know, those are either a minute or less videos of really fast, quick-paced videos that we're doing to help teach different, very fast, quick wins for you for gardening. And we've been doing seasonal things, I think our last one this past Monday was how to get ready, 5 things to get your garden ready for winter or winterize your garden, and that was fun. We've done a couple other ones.
Yeah, so I think you might have mentioned this already, but we're running those every Monday, for something different. So we like to change things up and try new things as well. So let us know what you think about those if you've seen them. Let us know if you have any ideas for topics you'd like us to cover, because again, it's a minute or less, so it's really fast.
It's really fast.
So it's kind of fun.
And let us know if they're useful, if you have a specific topic. Like Allison said, we'd love to keep helping you with your gardening, especially if you're first-time gardeners. This is why we're here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Like I'm sitting really far away from you. Stay over there. Let's see, more announcements. We feel like we have a few for you today. So we have a really exciting announcement. We have a pruning webinar coming up. It's going to be winter pruning do's and don'ts. This is pretty much the first time we've actually advertised it because we're still behind the scenes getting it all ready. Yeah. We have a link to sign up, and I dropped it in the chat just a little bit ago, and we'll remind you again.
Well, I can tell you right now, spokengarden.com/winter pruning webinar, all one word. So spokengarden.com winter pruning webinar. Type that in. You'll see more information on that webpage. You can get signed up, reserve your spot.
Right.
We want to see you there.
Yeah, we'd love to. This will be our first webinar, but we've talked about pruning for years, and this is going to be a blend of a live webinar and a pre-recorded webinar.
Yep.
So it'll be fun.
Yep, and it's going to be here on YouTube. It's going to be a private listed a video, so not everybody's going to be able to see it. You have to sign up to be able to watch it and be a part of the webinar.
And we forgot to say, the webinar will be on December 10th at 4 p.m. Pacific. I know we get so ahead of ourselves.
When and where?
We have a lot of things going on. So December 10th, 4 p.m. The sign up is in the chat, or go to spokengarden.com/winter pruning webinar. Okay, announcement number 3. Next week's live here on Wednesday will be all about garden gratitude. And we've been running a challenge, kind of a photo challenge on our Instagram account all month. And we're going to be featuring some of those photos, and we've been asking people to share pictures of things in your garden that you are super grateful for, that you're thankful for, something you planted, or a flower, or whatever. Something throughout the year that has made you really happy and has made you just very thankful. So that's coming up next week, and that's just perfect timing for Thanksgiving. So
yep, totally.
Is there anything else? I feel like we had 4 things.
Oh, okay.
What was the 4th?
I don't know. I thought we had 3 things, but we had 4 things.
How could we forget? Okay, our friend Chris from Corona Tools is watching, so you'll appreciate this.
Thank you, Chris.
We are going to be giving these away today to one of you. Now, we will have more of these in the future, but today we have this awesome pair. These are 1 inch, I believe, right?
Yep.
cuts up to 1 inch. These are awesome pruners,
Yep.
classic
Now,
cut.
these are the classic cuts, but this has a new design, a new locking mechanism, and they've got a new look from Corona Tools, and they are great pruning tools.
Oh, they do have, that's right.
We've already started using a pair that Chris sent us too with this one, and we've started using these out in our garden, and they're fantastic. They cut really well, they're nice and smooth. The locking mechanism is almost, it's basically built in to the structure of the actual shears, whereas before it's right in the middle here. You know, there's the old locking pin, locking mechanism. This one is actually built right into the side here, and this just makes it so much easier.
Cool.
Yeah, these are great tools.
So we are giving one of these away today to one of you lucky viewers. And should we tell them now?
Sure.
Because they have to kind of listen to to our live to get to enter, right?
Yeah, let's tell them now.
Okay, so do you want to tell them?
Sure. So the first one of you watching that emails us at Sean and Allison, all one word, at spokengarden.com and lets us know that you want to enter the contest for these free hand pruners, and you can tell us, this is the only thing you got to do. You need to tell us in the email what the first step today of our live video here. What's the first step of sharpening your hand pruners? What is the first step we're going to go over with you? Name that step, that very first step in your email, and you will win these.
Okay, so we'll remind you about that again later, but if you want them, here we go. Just listen up to our upcoming steps, and hopefully you'll win.
Yep.
Okay.
So cool.
This is kind of the Sean show. He loves his tools. I mean, you guys look at this. He's been up here for like at least 45 minutes laying everything out, getting it all ready for you guys. So, in fact, I feel like this is in the way.
This is guy stuff. It can be considered guy stuff, you know, kind of guy stuff. And so, as a guy, I love hand tools. I love using my hands. I love getting in there, doing stuff with anything I can use my hands with and tools with. So, what we have today is we are going to sharpen, of course, our hand pruners. Now, hand pruners, you want to use these when you're out pruning, doing different gardening tasks. You can use for deadheading, but definitely pruning. Different sizes, different kinds of cutting tools are out there. These are mainly great for some deadheading, but mainly stem and twig cutting. Now, there's different sizes we have up here. We've got the two classic cuts, 1 inch size of stem cuttings pruners. And so here's the old one, here's the older version, here's the newer version. Both will cut up to 1 inch stems, 1 inch size stems. We have the classic cut 3/4 inch stem size cutting shears. Then we've got the gel, oh sorry, go ahead.
I was thinking maybe it's more helpful to hold them up and show you guys.
Okay, there you go, sure.
I'll be the model here.
So these are the gel-coated handled, adjustable size, opening size hand pruners with this dial right here. And the higher the number you turn this dial to, the wider they open for a larger hand and for the strength and leverage you want to be able to get when you're making each cut. Now, the smaller the size, the smaller the opening, and the smaller the twig or stem you can cut, but you can also put a lot more power into it too without having to really open your hand up and then grip it. So these are great for that.
Cool. They're really comfortable, you guys.
Mm-hmm. And they're good for anybody that has any arthritis or strength issues in their hand. Really great tool.
We should say, Chris, don't look.
Yeah, don't look. Plug your ears, cover your eyes. So these are Fisker hand pruners, and I've had these for a number of years. These are what are considered professional types of hand pruners because I always call this a bent neck. If you look at, let's take the 1 inch. This is a 1 inch size for Fiskers. If you look at these, this has more of a kind of a bent shape to it. I always thought it was a bent shape. It kind of bends down. It's a different kind of pruning style of hand tool, but they're still great to use with that kind of that bent head, the professional type of shape to it. These are still bypass, as all of these hand pruners are bypass type of pruners where they have that scissor motion where they have the one blade and then they match up with this bottom piece here or the cradle of each one of these, and it makes that scissor cutting motion, and these are definitely called bypass. These are definitely known as bypass pruners. So
As opposed to Anvil, which we have a pair of Anvil. We probably should have showed those, but we don't really like them. Some people prefer them, we don't.
No, not really.
Not
I mean,
fans.
basically what happens is you have like a chopping block, a flat piece of metal, and then you have a blade that comes down and literally chops down on it like a chopping block. And it still works. They're nice tools to have, but they damage more of the stem when they come down. They crush more of the stem tissue. And so these make a nice cleaner, less crushing cut on a plant. So that's why I just prefer these in general. But some people prefer the Anvil. That's fine.
These are mine. Okay, so which ones are we going to clean and sharpen? We're both going to do a pair while we're...
It'd be great to do all these today. I don't know if we have enough time to do all of them, but what we need to do is we definitely need to do at least one pair each.
Okay.
Here's yours.
These are mine.
Here's mine. We'll get to some of these in a little bit, maybe if we have time.
Now, Corona Tools actually asked a great question in the chat, and they were wondering, how often do we recommend sharpening?
I would say it depends on your use. And that's a great question, by the way. I would say it depends on the use, how much you use your pruners. If you're using them a lot, then you should actually look and maintain the sharpness of your blade, the cleanliness of your pruner. You should do that on a regular basis, maybe every week or after each use. It kind of depends on you. I know some people do it once a year, some people do it sometimes never. But the great thing about sometimes doing it never is that I've been one of those people in the past that's done that.
I've never
at
done this
at a previous job. I had Corona Tool hand pruners provided to me by my employer. I never had time to do it. I was just always on the go, always doing stuff. So I'll tell you, these pruners, they put up with a lot of abuse. And I had this exact same, I had these classic cuts at my old job, one of my old jobs, and I never maintained it, and they worked great. They worked really well. I think I sharpened them maybe 2 or 3 times in probably 7 or 8 years. So
I could see why maybe once a year would be a good recommendation, and this is just me, total amateur here. But you know, just to keep them in good working order, because I mean, you want to make a sharp cut, and you don't want to have to keep cutting at the stem or the plant and risk harming it, right? So you want something sharp and not dull.
Totally. I guess that brings up the whole thing is if you use them enough and they dull at some point, you want to make sure that you are getting that great cut. So if you know that they're getting dull and they're not making a clean cut, then you know you need to sharpen them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then also, we've got a couple pruners here that are a little sticky.
Yeah.
For various reasons. We know whatever reason they are. They get sticky. You know, things, plant juices and different things get in there, or they get left out, and they might get a little rusted. So if you feel like your hand pruners are getting sticky, that's another reason to take them apart, clean them, and get them sharpened again if they need it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so great question.
Okay.
So let's do this. So the very first thing, I know.
First step.
The first
Those
step.
of you listening, okay.
Be listening if you want those hand pruners. Brand spanking
We could
new,
not
really
make
nice.
this easier, actually.
I know, right?
See, I'm a former teacher. I have a problem with this. Got to make it a little more challenging.
No challenge,
oh, well.
is there?
We'll work
Very
on
little
our
challenge.
system.
Well, the challenge is they have to sit through and watch and listen.
They have to listen, that's true.
To this point. So the very first step in cleaning your hand pruners, your hand shears, is you got to take it apart. You might say, well, first I want to clean them. Well, you can, but if you don't take it apart, you're not going to be able to get into all these different nooks and crannies here that you need to get into to make sure it doesn't stick, that it does work smoothly and it closes properly and all these different things. So the very first step is taking your hand pruners apart. So if you want the free hand pruners, brand new, send us an email. Okay, so here we go. So to take these apart, most hand pruners have, what they have here is they have a pin, a bolt or a pin, and they've got a nut on the other side. And so what you need to do is you need to take that nut and that pin or that bolt out. So crescent wrenches are great for this. You can use pliers, you can use other tools if you want to, or ratchet sets or whatever, but crescent wrenches are really easy to use. So we've got a couple of these, we're just gonna use them. So what I usually do is I'll take my hand pruners, and you can either lock them or unlock them, it's up to you. It's safer to have them locked. So take your crescent wrench, hold on really steadily to your hand pruners here, and just put that crescent wrench down there, size it to the nut there, and then turn you want to turn the nut counterclockwise or left, because lefty loosey, righty tighty. So all you do is just loosen that nut until it comes off, turn it to the left, keep turning it to the left, and then some people will be fancy schmancy and they'll just do that. Now, you might notice from hand pruners to hand pruners, some of these hand pruners are going to have lock nuts on them and some of them are not. This one I have in my hand does have a lock nut on it, and so that's really handy. And basically, if you don't know, a lock nut is just one of these nuts. It's got a rubber piece up in the top there, and when it gets tightened down enough around that bolt, the bolt basically stretches onto and makes a really tight fit on that rubber piece, and that locks the nut, makes it harder to come off. So anyway, okay.
Nerd alert. Okay.
So then if your hand pruners are locked in the lock position, unlock them and let them go free and open up. Now what you do, hold the pin with your finger underneath if you can, because you don't want it to fall away and get lost. Just lift up on one piece, bring it over. What you can do then is bring that nut out. And what you're going to do is you're going to have these pieces, right? Take them and put them in a safe spot away from where you're working, because you don't want them to fly away anywhere or lose them. That's just, to put this back together and keep it as a usable hand tool, you're going to need those. So make sure those are safe. Then with these two hand pruners, they have their spring system. Basically, there's a pin down here that this spring wraps around on this, this large peg. What you do is you just turn it counterclockwise until it comes loose. Wait a minute, am I going the wrong way? I was going the wrong way. Turn this one clockwise. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Trial and error. And then, and then that'll come loose. You just set that down, and then go ahead and take and do the same thing again and get your, turn the spring until it comes off. Put that over. Take that spring and put it over with your other loose pieces. Now, we've got one side of our, we've got our pieces of our hand pruners, right? Now, Allison's got a really, I'm kind of jealous that she has her pruners the way she does, and I've got mine. The 1-inch size stem cutting pruner, it comes apart in a few more pieces, and one more piece. The blade comes right off, and it's held by pegs on this piece. Allison's is one continuous. This is the great thing about the 3/4 inch and 1/2 inch stem size cutting hand pruners by Corona. This side, this whole piece is one whole piece of steel. It's forged this way.
That's cool.
It is super simple to maintain. So is this, but this is a lot simpler to maintain than this is.
So one less part to deal with.
Yeah, one less part to deal with, one less part to clean, to oil, and to do all these things with. So, pretty cool. Okay. So now we need to clean our tools. And so what we're going to do is if they're dry, go ahead and brush them off. Get a brush, maybe steel wool or something else that you can use. This is more of a nylon, but it's really stiff. Go ahead and just brush it off. Try and get all the loose pieces of whatever's on your hand pruner off. So again, let's recap. Step 1, take apart, disassemble your hand pruners and get the pieces off, and get it all separated. Now step 2 is to clean them. So just get in there and get any loose pieces of anything. Sometimes it's just good to go over the whole piece of equipment, this whole piece here, because you never know what's going to come off. And then here's our blade. Go over that. All right. I'm doing this right here. Allison's waiting for me. So as part of the cleaning process, you also want to disinfect your tool. You also want to disinfect your hand pruners. And this doesn't just go for your hand shears. This goes for your loppers. This goes for saws, because you don't want to spread disease. You want to disinfect it. You want to make sure that your plants, when they're cut, aren't becoming infected with something that's going to hurt their growth or kill them. So as part of the cleaning process, we are going to disinfect. So we've got a solution. It's a 10% solution of bleach and water. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the cutting pieces and the cradles, so the blade and the cradle, and we're going to dip them in to the bleach, and we are going to disinfect them. So here, Just go in here and just put them in there like that. You go ahead and do yours right there. Okay. You can keep them in for a couple seconds. You can just dip them if you want. You know, usually 15 seconds or so is pretty good. It really, you know, soaks them pretty good. And then we can take them out and put them on a paper towel or a rag or whatever else you got. Get that out of there. Just set them down. Now, what we want to do is we want to dry them off and get some, maybe some of the pieces of dirt or whatever that we couldn't get with the brush. Maybe it'll come off now a little bit better with just wiping it off. So, this is all part of step 2, is cleaning and disinfecting, sterilizing. Now, if you're like most people, you might have left your pruners out in the weather, out in the rain.
We've done that.
And you've probably noticed that your pruners, even if they're really, really well made from the best materials and whatnot, they might rust a little bit. They might rust a lot. And it's pretty common for that to happen, especially in our climate when it's so wet and moist and damp outside. So, you know, we run into that a lot. So now, as part of the cleaning process, you want to, if you can, you want to get any rust or any other dirt or anything else that you have on there. See, this is all blackened and it's...
Yeah, this is too.
Yeah, and so rust or this blackness or whatever, smudging, you want to get that off of there because you want a clean blade. You want to keep it clean and maintained. So what we have is we've got some sandpaper. Usually a steel wool brush will work really well on this type of thing. We don't have one of those, so we've got sandpaper and we've got some smaller files. Now, the files we're going to use too for step 3, which is the actual sharpening, and these are metal files. Don't use wood files on your metal blades because they won't last long, and it's just, you just don't want to do that. So you'll ruin the files. So what we can do is we can bring some of these files over.
I'll use this.
Okay, Allison's going to use the
Do you want some
the
of
sandpaper. Yeah, go ahead. And I'm going to try this a little bit and see if I can get. This is kind of getting some of that off of there. Oh yeah. Now, you can see what I'm doing is I'm going after this blade specifically, and I'm trying to scratch off and get some of this blackened pieces, the blackened areas off of this blade. You want to, when you're doing this with the blade or any sharp object, hold it steady. Don't do this. Okay? Don't do this. This is, you want to do this. Because you are trying to get a specific area of this blade clean. Now, that turned out fairly decent. Still got some of that stuff on there. I'm going to see if this works. How's that working over there?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it's...
Is it taking some of this? Oh, yeah, that really works well. All right.
Some of these aren't coming off, but that's good. Lots of use.
Oh, yeah. All of our pruning tools are well used.
This is the perfect time of year to do this project because these are, you're going to need all these tools. I mean, you probably use them all the time anyway, but we have a lot of pruning coming up in winter and into spring. Mm-hmm. So we love doing our tools, sharpening and cleaning like now.
And also, because we live in such a maritime climate, a very temperate climate, we can prune a lot of things here at certain, especially in the fall and winter, that other people might not be able to because of where they live. It's too harsh of a climate, or the plants respond differently in their climate, and so yeah. So it's we live in a very unique climate. 8B. Yep.
Yeah, we're
so. Yep.
We kind of debated about that with our webinar coming up. Should we do fall? Should we do winter? We decided winter because a lot of people will be getting ready to prune, you know, right? Mm-hmm. So we thought we'll get ahead of it, and people can use these you know, pointers, I guess, anytime this winter or even into the spring.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Pruning's not totally my thing. I always defer to Sean. This is his area, but
it's
I've learned so much from him, so you will too. I think we're good. I mean, what are we?
So,
Oh, I didn't do this.
So also, not just the cutting piece of your hand shears that you want to get clean and get any like rust or this blackening off of. You also want to get the cradle. You want to keep that clean because this is actually part of the cutting apparatus. This actually helps make that cut. So you want to keep that clean as well and well maintained. So. But okay, so I think we're looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and wipe your pieces off that you did that to, because there might be some residual scrapings. I want to get that off. Okay. All right. Now, the fun part. Okay, so let's recap. So we disassembled and took our hand pruners apart, step one. In step two, we disinfected, we brushed off, and we also sanded down our pieces to get any kind of gunk or rust. If we had rust on these, get that off of these. And so now we're looking good. Now step three, this is the sharpening part. So you want to be careful about how you do this. You want to do safety first, of course, with all these different steps. Don't cut yourself. If you need to, wear gloves. The way we're going to do it, we don't need to wear gloves because we're going to go slow. We're not going to go fast. Some people, this is the thing, some people come in and as an example, they think, oh, I'm sharpening knives in my kitchen and I can do it like a chef. And they go bang, 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 bang. Don't do that, okay? For a couple reasons. One, it's really unsafe to go fast when you're sharpening anything sharp, and two, there's only one side of these blades that you really want to grind on and sharpen, and that's this beveled edge. You can turn this over and there's a flat edge on this side of this cutting piece, on this blade. So these are unique blades in that they have this one beveled side. You want to sharpen this side and keep that beveled edge sharp and keep that bevel as best you can. It's easier said than done. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of effort. So don't worry if you don't get it on the first couple times or even in the first couple years, because it's hard to do. So what you want to do is we have a metal file here. Before I start doing this, I want to tell you, there's other ways to sharpen these tools. You can use a sharpening stone. There's a lot of different stones out there. A lot of people sell them. It'll be like a little rectangle stone. We don't have one today, but if you have one, that's great, because usually what happens is it's either just a rectangle stone and it's just one coarse type. You know, there's different courses, you know, like on sandpaper. Some are more coarse than others. The sharpening stone will be coarse on one side. Some are coarse on one side and then smoother on the other. And so you can turn them over and use them that way. And some just have one type of coarseness to them. The ones that have two types of coarseness to them, use the coarser type to really dig in and regain that blade. If it's got a lot of gouges in it, or it's not this smooth shape anymore, use the coarser side to really grind in and get that blade back to that shape that you want and that smooth, continuous edge. Then turn over that sharpening stone to the finer coarseness and then fine tune and really get that blade sharp again. So just some advice on that. So anyway, okay, so that was a lot of detail, sorry. You know
he does that, you know, if you've been watching, you know, we have a lot to share.
We do. So what we've got here is we've got some metal files. Now Allison bought these for me a couple years ago for all these different kinds. Yeah, it was a Christmas present.
Forgot.
And great Christmas
There
present.
might be a sharpening stone coming this year.
So basically, yeah, she got this for me for the lawnmower and different things that we have that we need to keep sharp. So I use these also for these. So what you do is get your file, steady it either on a table or somewhere. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. You want to match that beveled edge to this file. And again, it's easier said than done, but what you want to do is try and match that angle of that blade to this file, and what you want to do is you want to come back, and that's why these have these like this. I'm going to do it like this because it's a lot steadier, and I'm not going to come all the way back. So what you do is you come match that edge and then bring it back, and it's just repeating that over and over and over again. Now, you might have a different way to do this, and that's great. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of different ways to do the same thing and accomplish the same thing, but this is how I've done it for a number of years. It works really well, and it's never failed me. So, but yeah, if you want to comment in the comment section, let us know if this is different than how you do it, and then let us know how you do it, and we'd love to know, because there's always new things to learn and new ways to do things. So
now, how many times do we need to do this, or how do we know when it's done?
Now, great question. Now, some people will do it after a number of times, like they'll do 10 swipes, 10 swipes, and then they'll stop, and they'll take the blade, and they'll just run their finger over the edge like this, and you want to check for sharpness. This is no different than sharpening your blade edges in your kitchen for your kitchen knives. You want to make sure that it's really sharp. I know mine needs some work, so you repeat. Do 10 more. Oh, I didn't count, so I'm just going to guess here. Okay, so put it down, check it again. Yeah, that's a little better.
It's pretty sharp.
Yeah, it's a little better. Mine have gotten a lot of use over the years, and I don't think I've done this in maybe at least 6 months. So
I think mine are good.
So if you like yours, what you can do, if you like how it feels, take it and bring it over, get that flat edge, and then take this and run it on the file this way, flat. And what you're doing is you're getting what they call metal burrs on the back end. You're cleaning that off of that blade, and you'll be surprised how much sharper your blade is after you get those burrs off. And all they are just little metal shards, because when you're sharpening that beveled edge, when you're doing that, you're actually creating those burrs that come up on the back end of the blade. And when you just do the one side of the blade, it brings up the other side a little bit. There's other pieces that come up, so you want to clean that flat side, and that helps keep that blade really sharp. Oh yeah, woo, I like that. Nice. So, do you mind if I inspect?
Sure.
Ooh, yeah, nicely done.
That felt pretty good.
Nicely done.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
happy with it.
Yeah, good job. So, okay, so now that we've done that, so now the sharpening's done, the very last step is put it all back together. So
now, quick question. What are all these different sizes? I mean, does it matter if I use like a flat one and you did too? What are the round ones?
The round ones are for different types of blades. I just brought them up to have a variety.
Oh, okay.
To show you guys, show everybody the different types of metal files that you can have.
That's cool.
If you have specific blades that need a notch, that have a notch in them, you want to keep that clean, or it's
cool.
rusted,
Okay.
or it has an actual it has a beveled edge to it, you can use these for that. This actual one is the one I use for our chainsaw.
Oh, that's true, because it's those little teeth.
Yep,
yeah.
I can get those little teeth, and I just go through each one and give it about 5 or 6 swipes on this and just keep moving.
That's
so
cool.
This is great
Okay.
for that. Yep. So, great question. So, we want to put this back together, and so Allison's is really easy. She basically matches. So basically, sorry, before I get into that, what you want to do, the way you took it apart before, reverse the steps and put it together in reverse order of that. So the very last thing we did with these was take the spring out, right? So you want to put that spring back on there, and I'm going to find my peg.
Oh, there. I couldn't figure out how this matched up. Okay.
So what you can do is take the first part, the cradle. You can do the cradle. Find the end of your spring, and then find that peg on this post here, and then just turn that to then go around. You probably can't see it, but there's a little post there on that peg, or the peg on the post, and then you just take that and just screw it all the way on until it doesn't go anymore, and it's all the way up, and so that's secure. And you shouldn't have to really force
I
anything.
know, I'm struggling with mine a little bit.
So unless there's something wrong with the spring and the peg don't match up, but it should just, once you start it, it should just go right on. It's like threading a nut on a bolt. So
I'm gonna have you inspect that.
So what you can do is, this one isn't, there's a little bit of a, I don't know, there's a little bit of a, on the end of this kind of just juts up a little bit. So what you can do, if you can't line it up on that peg, line it like up just past it to get it to go around, line it up on the bottom of the peg and then turn it, and then it just goes right up.
Makes it look so easy.
So, okay, so now that we've got that on that side, then take your other piece, do the same thing. Take the spring, put it on that post, get it on that peg or just below that peg, and then hold that spring, pinch it with your pointer finger, your index finger, and your thumb, hold it, and then twist that other piece to go around until it doesn't go anymore. And then if it goes till it's like really like a weird angle like this is a weird angle, bring it back so it then lines up again with the other handle.
Like that?
Yep, good job.
Okay.
And then what you do is you line up the hole between the two. You got these two holes, line up that hole, and then find your bolt and put that back in. Now Allison's is fairly easy. Oh, now hold on.
Of course he says that.
So this is the interesting part. These, both of these are engineered with, it's been countersunk on one side, this hole has. There's a countersink in it where the edge goes down into the piece of metal. That tells you that your pin, your post, or your bolt is gonna go in from that side.
Right. I did it.
And just fit it in there until it goes down flush. And you're gonna have to turn it a little bit because you see on mine and on Allison's, it's not perfectly round. This bolt fits into this piece in a specific way to where it'll lock it, and that's how it's engineered.
Very cool. Okay.
So Allison's pruners are really cool and simplified because they don't have this extra piece of this blade coming off of that, so she doesn't have to worry about this. I, on the other hand, do. I have to line up this hole on the blade with this bolt, and I have to line up on the blade this pinhole and this pinhole with this small pinhole here and this small pinhole here. And that, all of those three lock this blade onto this hand pruner. So just fit that back on. There we go. That's back on. And then I can take my post and position it into place with everything together. Gotta make sure everything's lined up, otherwise, okay, there we go. So now I'm gonna hold, what I'm gonna do is, and Allison already figured it out.
I'm kind of ahead because I'm just that kid that...
She's smarty pants.
No, I'm just that kid in class that just, I have to go ahead.
She's smarty pants. So now what I'm gonna do with mine is I'm gonna hold the top handle. I'm then gonna push my thumb against that bolt to keep it in place and keep all this together. I'm gonna take my nut, turn this over, I'm gonna take that nut and start it and thread it onto that bolt. And then it's only gonna go so far because it's a lock nut, and then I'm gonna use my crescent wrench to tighten this down. Now as you're tightening this down, what you're gonna find out is the tighter you go, the tighter you make this bolt, the less your hand pruners are going to want to open.
I literally just did that right before you, so get a little ahead of yourself calling me smarty pants.
It's pretty funny.
Oops.
Hey, living life.
But I did it.
So what happens is so I did the same thing. I went a little too far. This doesn't really, this works okay, but what I need to do is I need to loosen this just a little bit. I went too far in my tightening, and so I need to loosen it just a little bit to make sure that it free flows. Oh yeah, see, there you go, free flowing. And that's another benefit to having that lock nut is you can have that nut anywhere on that bolt, and that'll give you, and it'll stay in place, and that'll give you the freedom to make this really free flowing and get that spring action moving on that and get that working. So
very cool.
Yep. So that's that.
Say, we didn't use that yet. Okay.
Now the very last thing you want to do after you put your newly cleaned and sharpened hand tools together is you want to oil them. Now, there's a couple reasons you want to oil them. One, you want them to work smoothly. These are all metal pieces working together to give you your cutting tool. So you want to oil them so it works smooth and it just keeps working really well. The other thing is when you sharpened your hand pruners, when you sharpen them, you're exposing new metal. And when you expose new metal, that exposes it to the elements. What you can do to protect that is oil them, is oil your tools, oil that newly exposed cutting blade and the rest of your tool. It protects your tool from the elements, moisture, and anything else that could damage it.
So we kind of mentioned a few other options on our Instagram post not too long before our live went on. If they don't have WD-40, what would be some other options for oil or oil-based type things that we can use?
What you can use, go ahead.
Okay.
And just a little squirt, because a little bit will go a long way there. What else you can use is you can use 3-in-1 oil. You can use even, some people swear by mineral oil. That's great, I guess, if it works
natural,
for you. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to get your tools covered. You want to get that coverage and that coat of oil on that newly exposed metal and in all the working, moving pieces of your hand pruners. It's just going to benefit and keep your pruners in service a lot longer. Now, something to consider is when you put your oil on there, you want to work it in. You can see Alice and I were working it in. You want to get it into a lot of the moving pieces of the metal that are all put together, that we just put back together. So if you got WD-40, you just take it and put it on one of the seams where the metal comes together and just squirt it. And it'll get down in there, just work it in. You know, just get it in there and work it in there.
You can just kind of let it, I think I'm good.
Okay. So I used a little bit more oil than I probably should have. I'm really juicing it up here, really oiling it up. If you have extra oil, that's okay. Just go ahead and lightly wipe it off.
I was going to say, you don't want to leave this on because it might hurt the future plants you're about to cut, right? Could it?
I don't know if there's research out there or not. I don't know. But what you want to do is lightly wipe it off so there's no excess on there. But you want to make sure that that oil is still, on there, giving it that protective coating. Okay. What some people do is they'll close it up and then they'll just lightly wipe off the excess. Like that. And this is a great way, if you're just going to store your tools for the winter, you're not going to use them, still clean them, disassemble them, clean them, sharpen them, and then put the WD-40 on it or anything else of oil so you can then store them. And that's great. That's a great way to store your tools too. So I'm going to get a little bit more oil in there because why not? So, yep.
I was noticing on these new pruners that we're going to give away, there was a little bit of oil kind of up there. That's kind
usually the hand tools, these Corona hand tools, will come pre-oiled.
Yeah,
they oil them already because they want them to look and work great from the first time you take them out of the packaging and get them home and use them. They will work seamlessly, and and they do that on purpose. So yeah,
that makes sense.
So
again, if you want to be the lucky owner, and we'll ship these to you. We're just going to need to contact you and get your information. 1-inch pruners, or cuts up to 1 inch, just like Sean. Basically these.
Just like our original classic cuts.
But they're those.
And and these are the same exact ones that are in this package right here that we're giving away. These will cut up to 1 inch, and these are great pruners. Yep.
So no matter if you're watching live or maybe you're catching the replay, don't assume that these have been given away yet. If you want these to add to your tool collection, email us, Sean and Allison at spokengarden.com, and tell us what did we say the very first step in this whole process was.
Yep.
And we're not going to tell you.
No, we're not going to go over it again. We just went over it just now, a few moments ago.
We gave it away. I know.
Yeah, and we started the whole video with that.
Okay.
So.
There is a great question that Corona Tools asked a little bit ago, and I was going to save it till the end to ask you.
Okay.
They were wondering, in our opinion, what would be the right time to use Anvil pruners? Because again, we love these kind of pruners, bypass. Mm-hmm. So, and we use these for everything, right? So, is there a better situation to use Anvil pruners, or is it just a preference thing?
It can be a preference. It depends on what you're trying to do, though, too. I've read different things, heard from different people why they like Anvil pruners. One reason is because they're not looking for a flush cut. They're going through and they're just cutting They're not really worried about the plant's tissue.
Oh, okay.
They want to remove as much material as possible in the fastest way they can. And if they want to do that and they don't care about the plant tissue healing fast, or you're just cutting up a bunch of material just to cut it up and to dispose of it.
Maybe
then,
like dead tissue and stuff that you don't.
Yeah,
dead
for
branches,
dead.
maybe.
Yeah, they work great for cutting dead tissue, dead pieces of plants. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Okay, so it's different.
Yeah.
Different preferences.
And for me, it's a personal preference of just always using these pruners over the Anvil.
Yeah. It makes me actually kind of want to give Anvil a try sometime, because I don't know, I've only used them a couple of times, and to be honest, for me, these are just so comfortable.
Yep.
And they fit in my pocket of my Carhartts, and I can just grab and go, and not that the other ones wouldn't fit, I suppose, but I prefer these two.
Yep, me too. So.
But wow, we did a lot. We kind of made a mess.
Did a lot of talking, yeah, a lot of big mess.
Yeah, we would love to know if that was helpful, hopefully for you, or it maybe gave you some ideas, because again, we featured Corona tools. You might have Fiskars, you might have, what are some other brands?
There's Gonic, there's Tabor.
There's so many,
there's
right? There's so many. Yeah. So, and they all have different pieces or different ways of taking them apart. So it's just looking at what pieces you have. Are there nuts and bolts? I mean,
what's the locking mechanism, the spring mechanism? Is there one?
There might not be. So
just make sure to know your tool before you start disassembling it.
And maybe you just straight up want to clean it. You don't want to sharpen it. So we gave you some ideas of how to like clean it and get it ready. And you know, there's so many different things you can do.
Totally.
But again, we hope that was helpful. Let us know in the chat or in the description if you're watching this on the replay. Were you able to clean your own pruners along with us? Did you do it at the same time? That's what we encouraged our Instagram audience to have all the supplies ready in advance and get ready to work. We like to use these Wednesdays as more of a learning lab, kind of a garden learning lab. So we've had a lot of episodes in the past that you can catch on the replays. We're moving forward into the end of November and December. We're still coming up with some topics, but what we're going to do at the beginning of the month of December is we'll post our live calendar, our schedule, on our Instagram account. And we just posted November. We're a little late, but that's how we roll sometimes. Better late than never.
We're busy, just like
we're busy.
You guys. And there's a ton of different things going on.
Oh my
besides
gosh.
gardening in the world right now. So.
Oh, there's so much. You guys, as you know, this month has been a doozy. So if you want to catch our calendar for what all our lives are, what all the topics are for the month of November, we've got it on, kind of nestled in a post that we just put out today on our Instagram feed. We also have it in our Instagram story as a separate story. So check that out and let us know what you think about that. And we'd love to see you here joining us next week for next week's Wednesday Live.
Yep. Garden gratitude.
Gratitude. Share your own garden gratitude. And if you want to get your picture featured on one of our slides for next week, use the hashtag November Garden Gratitude. And that is on Instagram. Yep. Share a post with us and tell us why you feel gratitude for whatever you're sharing. And you might get a chance to see it featured on our live next week. Again, hashtag November Garden Gratitude. We're also posting those on our Instagram story as well. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
Sorry, that was a lot.
Though. Hey, that's good. It's good stuff.
So we have that going next week. Don't forget about our pruning webinar.
Yes.
We are very excited to get going on this. We've been kind of putting it off as the year got really busy.
Yeah, we wanted to do a fall pruning
webinar,
fall pruning course. It just didn't work out.
It wasn't the right timing.
So winter pruning, do's and don'ts. We're going to go over a bunch of different things in that, but we're also going to, at the end of that, we're going to talk to you about a pruning course.
Yeah, we're going to announce our big course, and we'll have some discounts for you at the time of the webinar that you can only get in the webinar.
Yep.
So that's kind of a fun little extra bonus for you. The webinar's free. Again, it's on December 10th, and the link is in the chat right now. We'll also add it as a pinned comment in our description or our comments down below.
Yep. You'll need to go to that web link. You'll need to go to that web page and reserve your seat, reserve your spot, because we're going to be doing the webinar live and
pre-recorded.
Yeah, pre-recorded and live on YouTube, but it's going to be a private webinar where it's not going to be open to the public. So the only way you'll be able to view it is if you register for it on that webpage, spokengarden.com/winter pruning webinar, and then we'll send you an email with that link to this to the webinar that will be live. That's the only way you'll be able to see it. So just to let you know, be clear about that.
That's great, and we'd love to see you there. So in advance of the webinar, send us your questions, email us, tag us on Instagram, leave a comment on YouTube. You know how to find us, so we're pretty visible. So we just want to help, and we're excited going into getting closer to winter to run a whole bunch of more Wednesday learning labs for you. So if you have ideas for topics or anything, email us or contact us somehow. I think that's about it.
I think so.
I know we kind of talked your ear off tonight, so.
Yep, thanks for being here, everybody.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And again, let us know if any of this was useful, what you took away from it. And we'll see you next Wednesday live, same time, same place.
Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on all our garden care videos. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.